All right, I would like to thank very much everybody for coming today. I would especially like to thank our council members that are here today. Michael Sabatino, Christopher Johnson, Michael Breen, and this district's Dennis Shepard. So thank you all very much for coming to this afternoon. I'd also like to thank Karen from Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins' office for being here today. So thank you very much for coming. We also have Andrew Jenna from Senator George Latimer's office here. He's just hanging out back there. Thank you. We have Judge Tom Quinones here as well. Thank you. And this morning I was treated to a very special surprise by the Director of Veteran Services, who pulled up with these beautiful flags behind me representing all the different services, branches of the military, to present to us for today. And they've been sitting here since 10 o'clock this morning, and that's Louis Navarro. So I thank you very much for that. So before the mayor comes, I just have a few more thank yous and a few more introductions. I would definitely like to thank the senior marketing manager of Cross County Shopping Center, Miss Liz Pollock, who without her I wouldn't have been able to put this together, so I thank her very much, and her whole team who came out here today. I'd also like to thank all the merchants that are on McLean Avenue here for being here, and the board members who keep this avenue vibrant and keep this area alive. I'm a young store compared to a few others around here. William Palmer Hardware, they've been here for over 100 years. Merck Chemist, even though it has had 3 owners, has also been around here for hundreds of years and is one of the oldest pharmacies in Yonkers. And then a very dear friend of mine who used to run the Merchants Association about 30 or 40 years back is Danny Ventarola from the Bicycle Shop. His store opened the same year as we did here in '66. So hopefully we're all back here in November for his 50 years. Also, if you get a chance, when the line dies down, or maybe later in the week, come in and take a look at some of the memorabilia we have here. We have the top 10 albums of that week, the top 20 singles of that week, some TV guides, Mad magazines, and comic books of that week as well, all donated by my good friend John Villanueva. And thank you, Mayor Mike Spano, for coming this afternoon. So we did just a few introductions. We're going to go into a program without an introduction, okay? All right. So at this time, I'd also like to thank the Veterans Color Guard from the Charles N. Bajor Jr. American Legion Post, number 1122. Thank you very much for coming. As well as Joey Porcelli, the commander of Empire Post. So thank you all for coming. And we also have the commander from the Bajor Post, Bruce, as well. Thank you, Bruce, for being here. At this point, I'm going to ask the 2014 Yonkers Junior Idol, Amara Valerio, to come up and sing the National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank
this time, I'd like to bring up and introduce a very good friend of mine. Without him, the September Fall Festival that happens here on McLean Avenue and the St. Patrick's Day Parade that happens on McLean Avenue would not happen without this gentleman, who's also an aide of the parade this year. And like I said, a very good friend of mine. Jerry Collins, he is the chaplain of the Bejar Post.
Thank you. It's a little bit of a veteran's tribute to Anna Artuso's Bakery. As Ralph said, my name is Jerry Collins. I'm the chaplain from the Bejar American Legion Post, a couple of blocks away from here. And I'm not here in that capacity today. I'm not here as the chaplain. Instead, I'm here to honor and say thank you to 4 local American heroes: Anna Artuso, John Puma, Ralph Puma, and R.J. Puma. Thank you from the hundreds, and it's probably thousands, of American servicemen and servicewomen whose hearts you touched with quiet kindness over the last 50 years. First, a little background on this. For those of us who served in the armed services, there were special moments that we all shared, no matter what branch of the service you were in. One of those special moments was mail call, especially if you were in a foreign land, far, far away from home, or maybe out to sea for extended periods of time. I was in the Navy in the late 60s, and many times we were without mail for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. When the mail finally arrived, everyone was excited and gathered around hoping to hear their name called, especially us young sailors who were homesick much more than the old salts on board the ships. Getting a letter was one thing, but getting a care package from home was like Christmas all over again. My care packages came from my mom and dad, and occasionally from one of my aunts or one of my uncles. Bubble wrap and those styrofoam thingies were not the packing material of choice in those days. In fact, I don't think they were even invented in the 60s. The preferred packing material for those of us receiving care packages was popcorn, because you could eat everything in the box, except for the cardboard box, of course, unless we were really hungry. I do not remember anyone on my ship, and I was on an aircraft carrier, getting a care package from strangers or a bakery in a faraway place called McLean Avenue in Yonkers. I never remember anything like that. Today, and especially since 9/11, many organizations, including the Bejar Post, the Lions Club, church groups, scouting groups, and many other organizations send care packages to our troops in combat zones. In fact, the Bejar, through our wonderful Ladies Auxiliary, is coming up on celebrating our 2000th care package to the troops since 9/11. So let's remember this little fact. Before it was really fashionable to send care packages to the troops, Anna Artuso's Bakery was way ahead of the curve. Using this 50-year-old jar. See? Somebody probably stole it. Using this 50-year-old jar, which is still used today by RJ, to send some what I'd like to call cookie love to those of us in the military who are lucky enough to have our name and military address dropped in the same very bucket. Anna, John, Ralph, and RJ did this gifting. and RJ still does this gifting. All without fanfare or trumpets blowing. Hold that with you. It's going to fall off there.
Don't want to break it. It's the original.
Yeah, right. All without knowing many of those they sent cookies to. They just did it. They did it because somebody dropped a name and address in that jar. It's plain and simple. I myself only found out about this cookie love last week when RJ showed me the album that they keep with all the thank you cards and letters from those who received cookie love. When they started doing this cookie love, it was a much different time in America. The Vietnam War was cranking up. There were many, many more Americans in service to our country than there are today. That is why I said in the beginning, they have probably touched thousands of military hearts. Because when you got a care package, you shared it with your shipmates or your comrades in arms. So whoever got it, passed it along to. Whatever bright spots any of you may think of about Artusos, to those of us who serve this country, this cookie love story stands out as the biggest and the brightest star in the 50 glorious years of Anna Artuso's bakery. And on behalf of all those who served our country, and then you 4 American heroes served and comforted them with cookie love, I sincerely say, from the bottom of my healing heart, thank you, Anna. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ralph. And of course, thank you, RJ. You get to keep this.
Watch the wire.
Thank you.
Watch your step.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you, Jerry. I just asked for a prayer. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Jerry. At this time, wow, he took me by surprise. So I'm gonna just backtrack a little bit to what Jerry had said about how this started. It was Grandma's one of her favorite stories, telling people when they would come in and say, "How did this all start?" And basically, when she first opened the business, most people in the neighborhood gave her, 3 to 6 months. They said, "You got 3 to 6 months and you'll be out of here," because there was a big German bakery down the block called Bowenger's, and they were here for a good 50 years as well. And a mother came in and was crying to her about, her son being overseas. And my grandmother said, "Well, would he like a box of cookies?" And the woman said, "I don't know, can you do something like that?" And she goes, "I don't know, but we'll find out." And that was the first start, like Jerry said, of many. It just snowballed after that. And we would have the mayors and the justices of the peace at that time to come in and actually pull out the names each week to help us with that. And like Jerry said, we still do that to this day. So thank you very much. At this time, I'm actually going to call my sister Marisa up to the podium, and she's going to tell a little history of the family and why we're all here today. Marisa?
All right.
So this story is a short version story about my grandparents. Born in Reggio Calabria, Italy, Anna Artuso dreamed of meeting up with her father, Joseph, who left for America years earlier looking for work. She was raised by her mother and uncle until they received word that they should travel to America. Anna, at age 8 and not remembering her father because she was too young, left Italy with her mother in September of 1929. It was a 9-day voyage to the United States. The first sight as they entered this great country was the Statue of Liberty. Anna's younger sister, Victoria, introduced Anna to her best friend's older brother, John Puma. When John heard Anna's birthday was coming, he purchased a friendship ring for her. Anna's father, Joseph Artuso, wanted to meet this young man who was interested in his daughter, and he took an immediate liking to him. Although they were not allowed to go on dates alone together, the couple often found themselves with their younger sisters, Vicky and Olga. John courted Anna for about 2 years before entering the service during World War II. Before he left to serve his country, they were married on January 25th, 1942. It was a small wedding without a cake. For the next 3 years, 2 months, and 13 days, John served his country stateside as a tailor with the title of quartermaster. Anna was working at her brother's shop when John returned to civilian life and to his wife and 2 sons, Ralph and Joseph, on November 1st, 1945. After the war, John decided that being a tailor wasn't the life he wanted. He then worked at a veterans hospital in Kingsbridge during his first 3 years back from the war, but then thought it best to go back to the family business and open his own tailor shop with Anna in the Bronx for about a year. Business was not what it should be, and John and Anna sold the shop and decided to rejoin her brothers to work with them at the Mount Vernon pastry shop. Their eldest son, Ralph, was taught the craft of baking with many other great Italian bakers from the New York area. John and Anna enjoyed working for her brothers, but thought it was time to venture out on their own. Anna opened her shop with her husband, John Puma, as proprietor. Anna Artuso Pastry Shop, located here at 969 McLean Avenue in Yonkers. The grand opening was on Thursday, March 10th, 1966, exactly 50 years ago today. Anna, John, and their sons, Ralph and Joseph, along with a few other bakers, worked hard to get this shop off the ground. Anna and John Puma, as they always did, put others first during these initial years. They started sending a box of cookies overseas once a week to our servicemen fighting in Vietnam. The letters started to pour in, and when those boys made it home, the pastry shop was one of their first stops to personally thank the Pumas for their generosity. 50 years later, the shop is still here. Not much has changed. We still use the same recipes that have been in our family for over 70 years. We still make the best pastries in town. We still send the greatest cookies overseas to our men and women fighting for our freedom. We still put others first, including donating to local soup kitchens, part of the solution, the Delancey Street Foundation, Ashling Irish Center, Woodlawn Boys and Girls Club, and many others. Although John, Anna, and Ralph are no longer with us, we continue the traditions they started of bringing the best pastries, cakes, and cookies to this neighborhood. RJ, Anna's grandson and my brother, is now owner-operator, making those wedding cakes like our dad used to make, as well as everything else you will find in the shop. Anna's spirit is still in the shop to this day, where customers come to reminisce about her. Thank you.
Thank you, Marisa. Also here in attendance is my other sister, Juliana, and her daughter, Gianna. And my children, Ralph and Jenna, through my wife, Bridget. So they are the 4th generation, basically. These are the great-grandchildren. Also with us today is a very special honor, my Uncle Joe, my godfather. That's Ralph's brother, right back there, Anna and John's son. And I think the rest of the family's in Florida Skyping with us, so. At this time, I'd like to introduce the women of Woodlawn, and I believe Kim has a presentation to give. So this is Kim from the Women of Woodlawn.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Ferletti. I'm the Vice President of Women of Woodlawn. We're a women's civic organization that tackles quality of life issues within the Woodlawn and McLean Heights communities. And I'm just incredibly delighted and honored to be part of this celebration today. And you know, what a lot there is to celebrate. You know, when you hear the name Anna Artuso's, when you mention the name Anna Artuso's, everybody's eyes light up. Everybody's mouth starts watering. Everybody starts reminiscing about their favorite treats. And they really are the best cakes, pastries, cookies that you will find anywhere. But the name Anna Artuso's really stands for a lot more than that. You know, Anna Artuso's means living the American dream, coming from another country, starting your own small business. Anna Artuso stands for small businesses. You know, we're very, very fortunate that we're surrounded by so many other businesses that are standing as long and longer because of the commitment that the people in the community have to these businesses. We are deeply rooted in giving back and supporting our local businesses who do so much for us. Anna Artuso also stands for serving our country with care packages and serving our community. There's so much that RJ does for us and for all the different members of the community. So you can see that RJ has carried the torch that was started with his grandparents. So on behalf of the women of Woodlawn, I want to present you with a historic plaque which has a little history about Anna Artuso's and a beautiful picture of Anna.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Mayor Michael Spano, and thank you very much for coming here. And the mayor was here 10 years ago at a celebration that we did for the 40th anniversary of the bakery. He was an assemblyman, but I think he remembers that day well. We've talked about that in the past. So thank you very much for coming out today.
RJ, thank you so much. It is it's such a wonderful day for me to be here on McLean Avenue just before we will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day here on this wonderful street. McLean Avenue and McLean Avenue Merchants Association is a true staple in Yonkers and in our community. But you couldn't have McLean Avenue and you couldn't really have Yonkers if you weren't able to talk about Artuso Bakery and the impact that your family, RJ, has had on the people of this great city of Yonkers for 50 years. And my kids will often talk about coming here. They talk about the cakes that come here. There's some different designs of the cakes that come out of here, but the history is just legendary. And I don't know what Mayor Flynn would have said 50 years ago when Artuso's opened, but I do know what I will say, that this is truly a great day for our city, because you are the finest example of what we want in a community that is thriving, a community that is growing, a community that is stable because we have your family here committed to our Yonkers, and we have Artuso Bakery that is, not just a destination for the people that live here in McLean Avenue, but a true destination for people all across the region who will come to Yonkers just to come to your bakery. So I have here a proclamation. I have two. Are we doing the street one? Yeah. All right, so we have two. Yes, I want to make sure that there's one for every corner. So I have a proclamation here for Anna Artuso's Bakery, and obviously for and RJ, keep up the great work, keep up the tradition. You've made your family proud. You continue to make them proud, and you continue to make us proud. Thank you for your commitment, and obviously for what we're going to do in a little while. So keep it. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the councilman of the area, Dennis Shepard.
Thank you, Ralph. I also have a proclamation here, but it's from the City Council President's office, and I'll represent him, but just thank God I don't look like him. So on behalf of the City Council President and the City Council, we'd like to commemorate Artuso Bakery for being 50 years. It's not too many businesses that can stay in business that long and be successful. And I remember the grandmother on the block when I first moved here and everything, and truly a generous person. So it's an honor for me to represent her. She always had a smile on her face. She always was a pleasant person. And anybody that takes care of veterans, in my book, is aces. So on behalf of the City Council and City Council President, we'll present you with that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to